What's up, guys? I'm Mike from StockedUp, and welcome back to the Stocks with Mike and Tom show. In this episode, we have some awesome information regarding Tesla, the stimulus deal, and just like overall general market news. And we have some awesome plays that we're eyeing for the rest of this week. At the end of the video, we have a $4.3 million option that's setting up really nice right now. So make sure you guys stick around to the end of the video. If you aren't subscribed already, don't forget to subscribe. We post new videos every single day. But Tom, let's get right into today's video.
Yeah, the big news I've really been seeing is a lot of articles have been coming out and have been being posted by large news companies saying that Tesla should do another stock offering to take advantage of their overly high stock prices. And, we can see Tesla's already up to $602 after their split level, which is an amazing level. But honestly, this would be a very smart move by Elon right now if he did do another stock offering while Tesla was this high, unless he knew that Tesla would soar even higher, which it very well could. But this is very interesting to start seeing these articles come out, especially after he just emailed his employees an email warning them that profits still aren't the best and they could lose credibility with investors. And he said specifically in the email, he said, when looking at our actual profitability, it is low at around 1% for the past year. Investors are giving us a lot of credit for future profitability, but if at any point they conclude that's not going to happen, our stock will immediately get crushed like a souffle under a sledgehammer. And I know that we had posted about this earlier last week, but it's just still crazy to see more articles are coming out about them doing another offering. And Goldman Sachs just upgraded them on Thursday, and they had a very nice pop on Thursday and Friday, as you can see on the chart right here.
Yeah, so Tesla actually had a record close on Friday. And, Tesla is a great company, but I think it's definitely a risk on their profitability percentage. And I think an offering can actually be great for their company. So Tesla actually did an offering back in September when their stock price was just soaring. And normally what happens with offerings is it normally hurts the stock price in the short term, but benefits them in the long term. So like for an example, Tesla might do an offering. Their stock price is very high, so they might offer and sell some more shares to the public. In turn, Tesla is going to raise a lot of capital, and they might take that capital and invest it in manufacturing or just something to increase their profit percentage that will benefit them in the long run. So this is just a possibility, but if they do go through with this, offering new shares, I think it will definitely hurt the stock in the short term, but benefit them in the long term, kind of what it did just in September. Because actually, when they did their offering last time, it was like very early September. Their stock price fell from about 500 down to about $330, and it came back up a couple months later. So it's just something to keep in the back of your head.
Yeah, and Tesla is doing a lot of stuff right now, trying to open up gigafactories and new battery production, and they're even starting new facilities in Texas and the United States. So they have a lot of stuff going on where they could definitely use this cash.
Yeah, absolutely, and they're doing pretty good in 2020. So we'll see what happens.
Pelosi says there's momentum for another stimulus package coming this week, and that could be very good. And last week, Mitch McConnell just came out and said that there could also be a deal on another package. So with both of them saying that there could be a deal, that's just fantastic. And you can see that the S&P really went up on Friday on that news, and you can see it did end up red on Friday. So hopefully that doesn't forecast what's to come this week. But hopefully, they can come to terms, and then there's more good news this week about a deal being reached. And if there is, we might see even more green on the S&P and the Dow, which are at all-time highs right now, which is fantastic. I don't think anybody expected the Dow and the S&P to be at all-time highs at this point in December.
Right. I mean, it's good to see, though. Wait, actually, the Nasdaq is at all-time highs too. So overall, I mean, the market's just doing great. Just be careful. We are at all-time highs, and in general, everyone is expecting a stimulus deal to positively impact the markets. But if we have news come out with some negative aspects of the stimulus deal, or news with China, or anything bad, jobless claims news, that could all be a potential factor to impact the market to the downside.
Yeah, definitely. And almost just like the next news that we're about to talk about. And the LA Times reports that a stay-at-home order will be imposed in Southern California, and parts of California have already been given stay-at-home orders. But of course, California usually imposes these types of restrictions first. just like we saw with the illness last year, California shutting down may be a sign that other states and counties will shut down as well, possibly with other cities like Portland, Chicago, and New York, and more some more of those bigger cities. I think we might see those start to shut down first, and then obviously it might spread through the United States, just like we saw last year.
Yeah, that's a great point, actually. And, if we see more shutdown news, that could also negatively impact the market. So, great point there. It's just another risk that we have, like kind of like floating around in the markets right now. So, let's get right into today's member of the day. And we actually have an awesome feature today. And today's member of the day is MP 2020. So, he made a great post in the Profits channel. He said this was his biggest week yet, and it looks like he made about 58 grand this week off of a variety of trades. And he said all options using the info from Tom and Mike, as well as learning from the stat modeling chat. So huge congratulations to MP 2020. Great job, and you definitely had an amazing week. So awesome job. If you guys want to trade the same options from the SM chat, you can click the Stocked Up Options Alerts link in the description down below. But just MP did an awesome job this week.
Yeah, he did really good, an amazing week. Almost all trades for him won, and you can see he even had some big winners like 15 grand here, 15 grand here, 18 grand here on AMD. So he did have a great week. I don't know what happened with this trade here at negative $903. No, I'm just joking. It was a really good week for him. Of course, everyone's going to have some losses mixed in there, and that's not a bad loss considering he made 58 grand by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, that's awesome. So now let's get into our momentum plays for tomorrow. And the first one is Oxy. So OXY is the first play. It has a ton of momentum, up around 13% on Friday. Tom, what levels should we be watching?
Make them go ahead and break above their high of Friday, which was 1861. And this stock is really running. Like you said, they were up 13% on Friday.
Oh, yeah. With the next one, we have Uber.
Uber, this one, go ahead and make them pop above 55, which seems to be a pretty solid resistance for it.
All right. And then we have RKT, but this one is to the downside.
RKT, that's not good. I just picked up shares on RKT, but go ahead and watch for them to fall below 1950.
Uh-oh. And then we have IBM.
IBM, make them go ahead and pop above 127.50.
All right. And then so we have OXY, Uber, and IBM potentially to the upside, with RKT potentially to the downside. If they break these levels, we are eyeing them for quick day trades. But now let's get into the $4.3 million option that we are looking for the next couple weeks. We are looking at the OXY 18 strike call options. They expire January 15th of 2021. There was about $4.3 million put into this play. I really like the way OXY is setting up right now. Just on the charts, I think it looks great. And I know that they actually had some pretty big investors invest into them in the past couple months. So right now, I really like the way they're setting up. And OXY is one of those stocks, when it runs, like, it can really run, like kind of like we saw on Friday, up about 13%. So they're definitely on my watch list. I think there's a good possibility that they are longing these calls.
Yeah, me too. And it looks like a really good setup, almost similar to like Bank of America right now and Boeing. It almost looks like one of those stocks that is just not fully recovered yet, and it might actually start recovering now over the next couple months as we see the S&P and the Dow start hitting new highs again.
Yep. All right, well, let's get into our questions from the previous episode. And we have Jason saying Alta, talking about Alta and how it's rising up. So, Tom, what do you see with Alta?
Yeah, let's go to the long-term chart on Alta. Yeah, it does look like they're rising up. It seems like they're getting pretty close to a resistance around 295 to the $300 level. I think that's going to be a pretty big resistance for them. But if they break that, I think that they could hit higher than that, obviously. I think that if they break like around 305, they could really run up. But other than that, I would really watch out for a resistance around 300. It seems like over the long term, that's poses a pretty big resistance, especially right before COVID hit.
Yep, with the next question, we have Trent saying, what do you think of GE?
General Electric, yeah, this one actually looks like it's starting to really pop back up. They were having a lot of problems over the past few years, and I know during this stretch of 2 years where they pretty much just went straight to the downside from 33 all the way down to 6. They were totally restructuring their company and everything. So hopefully that has worked out, and hopefully they can have enough momentum to actually recover with a lot of these other stocks, kind of like OXY and Bank of America. But I think that for the long term, GE might do pretty well, especially considering that they've been low for the past few years, and they have been restructuring, pretty significantly. So I think that they could come back, but it's just one of those risky stocks just because they fell from 30 all the way down to 6. And it's not like that the illness caused this to happen. It really happened because of the company and just its overall structure. So that's what scares me the most about GE, but I think that in the long term they will end up being okay.
Gotcha. And then we have Henry saying, what's your opinion on QQQ or SQQQ? So QQQ is the NASDAQ. It's the main NASDAQ ETF. It's great, for the long term. If you're looking to invest in the technology sector, this is one of the best ways to go. They're having an amazing year. QQQ hit lows of around 165 back in March, and it's just exploding, right? If you want to invest into this for the long term, I really like it. In terms of SQQQ, this is just like the short version of the NASDAQ, and you have to be careful with ETFs like this. So you can see how throughout the long term with SQQQ, it just decays and decays and decays in value. So with a lot of ETFs like this, they decay in value kind of like how options decay in value. So you definitely don't want to hold any like sort of leveraged ETF in the long term. It will decay no matter what. And another thing to keep in mind is like unless you're just like trading this for like very short term, you're really just betting against tech stocks, which have just been like a complete powerhouse for the past couple years, especially this year. So I really don't like SQQQ unless you're doing like very, very short-term trading.
Yeah, same here. It's just really one of those. It's almost like a stock like VXX or something like that, to where you mainly just want to trade it for those quick up and down trades. Like if we go to a 5 minute chart, you can see that if you do catch it on a day where the Nasdaq does fall, SQQQ can pop pretty significantly, like it did right here. It opened at 1720 and ran all the way up to around 1751, and still that's not the largest move, but you can see given what types of moves it's had on the chart, that's a pretty big move for the stock. And it's just one of those things to where it's just like Mike said, it's going to be really risky when you do this, especially with tech stocks flying. And it's just something you definitely don't want to hold for the long term. And I can even attest to that because I've been killed on this whenever I first started trading.
Yeah. With the next question, we have Tyler saying, do you think BA will go back up by next week? I have a 247 call. So it's about $15 out of the money. I think Boeing is really like in the process of making its recovery back up to where it fell from back in March. Now, that doesn't mean that they're going to go back to their highs back in March, but I think they're really starting to kind of run back up, just like how bank stocks are. Like we're seeing Bank of America, JP Morgan, Citigroup, all starting to come back up. And like even some oil stocks like Chevron, like they're all starting to come back up. And I feel like Boeing's the same way. So I feel like they can have maybe a slight pullback, but I don't think it's going to be anything too significant. I just think like they're more likely to go up in the next couple weeks than they are to fall. What do you think?
And their planes were cleared to fly again, so that's also good news for them.
True. I mean, what do you think from them, like on a technical point of view?
Yeah, for a technical point of view, just for next week, I'd be a little worried just given the pullback that we had on Friday, kind of like he is. But other than that, I think that, like you said, it might have a slight pullback for 2 to 3 days. But I think that they're also in that process of recovering. But yeah, with Boeing, I'm really looking for a lot of the illness news to affect it. If there's more stay-at-home orders and less travel, I think that could hurt Boeing again. Just because I don't think airlines are gonna be buying their jets up quite as fast as they would be if let's just say travel was booming once again. So I think if travel starts booming again, I think that Boeing could really start going up. But I do think that they are on that process to recovery, like you said, and their jets just became ungrounded. So on a technical standpoint, I would say on a 15-minute chart here, I'm a little worried if they fall below 230. I would be a little bit worried about them recovering just by the end of next week, which is whenever I assume his option expires. But if they do end up holding these levels and break 244, I think he's golden.
Awesome. With the next question, we have Richard saying, your videos are a must watch for me every night. My stock idea journal contains a heavy dose of your momentum plays because they tend to work for me. Thanks. So we love to hear that. It's awesome. And yeah, the momentum plays are pretty good for day trades. There's a lot of stocks that have like a lot of potential. Like for example, if we look at the momentum plays for today, we have OXY, Uber, RKT, IBM. Like there's a lot of momentum with them. Like I especially really like Oxy right now, OXY, but I just think there's a lot of potential for the momentum plays. So we'd love to hear that great comment. So Tom, do you have any last minute stocks, options, or any insight for the market for this week?
Yeah, the last thing I wanted to talk about was Bank of America. And like we've been talking about all video, a lot of these bank stocks have really been popping back and coming back to the upside. And I have been posting this in our hybrid plays channel in Discord as well, if they want to go ahead and check that out down there with the link down below. But you can see that Bank of America has been bouncing off of this trend line and is actually starting to break out of what I would call a bull flag right now. So I'm going to be watching for them to keep popping this week. Watch for resistances around 30, 50 and possibly $30, but I'm really going to be watching Bank of America for calls over the next few days. And just keep in mind, Bank of America doesn't have the best priced options in the world, but they also don't move a lot. So at the same time, it's not going to be the worst loss in the world for you. I would take a loss around 10 to 15% and then try to take a profit around 25 to 30% on this, just given how their options move and the spreads might be a little large. So that might hurt you as well, but just try to get filled lower on that spread rather than higher up by the ask.
Gotcha. And then I actually have a last minute play. I'm looking at two stocks. The first one is MU, and then the second one is Intel. So MU just had just a crazy run up, right? And I can see both of these plays pulling back sometime soon. Now, this doesn't mean that they're going to pull back Monday morning, but just given their run ups, I think that it's pretty likely that we're going to see a pullback. If we look at Intel, right, we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 green days in a row, so I can definitely see them pulling back. MU has a very similar setup, so I'm eyeing both of these companies. I think I like Intel a little bit more for a pullback, but we'll see. So there was some news with Intel too, but I am eyeing them for a pullback, maybe some puts for a day trade, or maybe even a swing trade, depending on how the setup looks. What do you think?
Yeah, that's awesome you said that because I've actually been holding 100 shares of Intel that I also called out in the Discord from ever since around $46. So really, I sold out on Friday all the way up around 52. So it was a very nice gain on my stock. And I'm glad to see you're looking to see it pull back now that I sold. And it also filled this gap all the way back up right to the bottom of this candle, which is very interesting. It perfectly filled the gap back up like a lot of people predicted it would. And now I think that we could definitely see a pullback over the next few days on this. And just like MU, like you said, it's up so much that, man, I'm definitely going to be eyeing it for some puts. And I know that me and you'll definitely be talking about it in Discord this week.
Oh yeah, yeah. So, like I said, that doesn't mean it's going to pull back Monday morning or whatever. You just kind of have to eye it out. When you see the momentum change, that's when the opportunity is there. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you guys want to trade the same options as Tom and I each day, you can click the Stocked Up Options Alerts link in the description down below. You'll also have access to the machine learning bot and then like the hybrid plays channel Tom was talking about. So when we see, Intel turning, you guys can take advantage of that. So it's the Stocked Up Options Alerts link in the description down below. Thank you guys so much for all the comments, the likes, sharing the video. It really helps grow our channel, and we're so grateful for that, especially the comments. So thank you to everyone who leaves questions down below, who just leaves comments for the algorithm. Tom and I really appreciate it. So thank you guys so much. We really appreciate it. And we also made a slight adjustment to the format of the video. So we actually had a lot of feedback saying you guys couldn't see the ticker symbols that we had on the chart. So Tom and I made a slight adjustment. We made right where Tom's cursor is right now. We made those that a little bigger. So hopefully you guys like that change. Let us know in the comments down below if you like this. We've actually had a lot of feedback. So let us know in the comments down below. And if you have any other questions, let us know in the comments down below. But other than that, thanks for watching.